Hi, my name is David Wallimann. Thank you for joining me for today's masterclass session in which we're going to talk about figuring out which scale to use over a chord and, most importantly, multiple chords. And most importantly, over chords that are not in the same key. That's difficult for people who are not aware of what to do. After this video, it's going to make much more sense. But before we start, I have a few things to tell you. First, grab your guitar because this is going to be a research type of thing. I want you to be involved in this masterclass. This is the type of video that might be a little longer. You might need to pause. You might need to experiment with some of the things that we talk about. You also might want to have a notepad as something to write with. It's going to be beneficial. If you do the work instead of just watching the video, those concepts are really going to click into your playing, and it's, trust me, it will make a huge difference. And then thanks for Zach Z, who reminded me that I do have some looping pedals, and I should definitely use them. You are absolutely right. I don't know why I didn't before, but today's lesson is going to be helped by the incredible Ditto looper by TC Electronic. This is the Ditto X4. There's a review on my channel also that I did a few months back. Check it out. Without further ado, grab your guitar, a pencil, a notepad, and lots of coffee because we're going to talk about playing over difficult chord progressions. Before we get started, we need to backtrack a little bit and talk a little bit about where chords come from. Chords come from scales. A scale is a series of notes that is organized into a logical way, a formula, and typically we have 7 notes in a scale. For example, if I take this A major scale, I've got 7 notes. These notes are organized into a way that if I were to take that formula, that organization of that A major scale, and played it from a different note, you would still have the sense of being in the same nature of music. Not the same key because I'm changing notes, but it's similar. If I take an A major, because of the formula, that formula will give the listener a certain emotion, a certain color, and that color can be applied to any major scale, regardless of where I started from. So I could start it from A, or from here. You kind of hear some similarities, same color. So back to our A major scale, we have 7 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that are organized into, again, a logical way. The formula is basically a series of intervals. What is an interval? An interval is the distance between 2 notes, and it's that organization of these intervals that will make that scale sound similar, whether I started here, or here, or here. Anywhere I start it, if I respect those intervals, that formula, I'm going to have the same color. That's for the construction of a scale. Now, chords are extracted from scales. Sometimes the scale they're extracted from is obvious, sometimes it's not. We're going to start with the obvious here. If I take an A major scale, these 7 notes can be part of different chords. I can pick any of these 7 notes, play them together, and that will be a chord that is extracted from my major scale, A major in this case. I don't even need to start with this first note. I can start with any note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, play a chord, and over that chord, if I play an A major scale, it's going to work. Let's try. Let's take, for example, the first note. We'll skip the second to the third, skip the fourth to the fifth. These 3 notes, if I play them together, I'll have a chord. Notice that we don't care about the name of the chord. That's not the topic here. It doesn't matter at this point. We just know that that chord was extracted from that major scale. So if I loop that particular chord here, I can play my A major scale on that. right? It works. Now, if you're a completely beginner, what I did there, I played the same 7 notes an octave higher, which is the same exact name of the notes, but played a full pitch higher. But this note and this note, although they're not the same pitch, they have the same function because this is an A, and this is also an A, and this is also an A. But in essence, I'm just repeating these 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. I will have these 7 notes all across the fretboard, but they're just 7 notes repeated. Now that we extracted some musical elements from the scale, we're going to do the opposite, which is what happens when you have to improvise over something. You need to backtrack and reverse engineer that. Let's say that we have this particular chord right here, an E minor. And again, the name of the chord doesn't matter, but that's what we have. Okay, now that we have this chord progression, we're going to back engineer and we're going to try to find a scale that we can use to improvise over it. Let's take our chord shape, which was a standard E minor chord shape in this position. I have my root on the 7th fret, 5th string. And I'm going to analyze the notes that I have. I have a root. The next note that I hear in my chord is a 5th. An octave, which is the root again. So far I only have root, 5th. This note is the minor 3rd, played an octave higher. So I have a root, 5th, minor 3rd. This note right here is the 5th, an octave higher. And that's all I have. So really I have 3 intervals. I have a root, a minor 3rd, and a perfect 5th. I don't have a 2nd. I don't have a 4th. I don't have a 6th. I don't have a 7th. Which one am I going to use? Well, if my chord progression is only that, just that particular chord, I could pick any of the missing intervals I want. I do need to play a root. If I were to play a root, I would need to respect the root that's given, that's E minor. If I had to play a 3rd, I would have to play a minor 3rd. A major 3rd would clash with the minor 3rd of the chord. You hear it? So if I were to play a 3rd, it would be minor. Same with a 5th. If I had to play a 5th, it would have to be a perfect 5th, not a diminished 5th. That would clash. An augmented 5th, same thing. So I've got 3 given notes that I need to respect. As far as the others, I can make them up. So I've got a root. Let's try a major 2nd. That works, right? A minor 2nd would also work because I don't have a 2nd given to me by the chord. Therefore, I can pick which 2nd I want. I'll use a minor 2nd. You might say, oh, that clashes. It really doesn't. It's just a matter of ear education. But those 2 2nds are going to work. You just need to pick one. So let's pick up a scale. The only thing we need to respect is that scale needs to have a root, which is E, a minor 3rd, and a 5th. We'll pick a root, E, a major 2nd. I could have picked minor 2nd. We'll pick major 2nd. Root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, that's given by the chord. The 4th we'll keep perfect. The 5th has to be perfect. That's given by the chord. The 6th could be minor or major. Let's pick a major 6th. And the 7th could be minor or major. Let's pick a minor. And that's our scale. So we used the elements given by the chord, root, minor 3rd, 5th, and we completed the rest with whatever we wanted. In this case, root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, and minor 7th. And this is what that particular scale, or musical alphabet, as I like to see them, would sound like over this particular chord. That works. I would have had other options too. That's completely up to me. That works when there's a single chord or when there's a song that vamps over the chord for a while. Now, if we have two or more chords that are played one after the other kind of fast, doesn't have to be super fast, but maybe it changes like every 4 bars, for example, or 2 bars, that's when we need to be more specific and more targeted. Let's take a look at that. Let's say that we have the following 2 chords. We have an E minor chord, like we just had, and the next chord is going to be a G minor. To make it more interesting, I'm going to add a minor 7th in there. So the more notes we add to a chord, the less options you have as to which scale you're going to use, right? Because you need to respect those elements. But I'm going to do that. So I'm going to record a vamp using those 2 different chords. So I've got the E minor 7 followed by G minor 7. This is what a loop like that might sound like. Two different chords. That's my E minor, followed by my G minor. All right, for this next section, I'm going to use my computer. I'm going to use an app called Neck Diagrams, which is a great software. I reviewed it on my channel. I use it all the time. Highly recommend it. I've got 2 diagrams here. On the top, I have an E minor 7. On the bottom, a G minor 7. Those are the exact chord shapes that I used when I created that loop. And instead of trying to make these work together, which they don't, simple demonstration is if I take that E minor 7, drag it, and create a new chord on top of the G minor 7, the exact chord, I would have something like this. And you see that there's a problem here with the third. There are 2 types of thirds, and whenever you have 2 types of the same intervals, when you're blending chords together, you know that you're dealing with more than one scale. So that won't work. So instead of trying to make it work, we are going to learn how to modulate as smoothly as possible. Use 2 different keys, because those are 2 different keys, like we just demonstrated, and try to find some similarities, which is going to help your phrasing. For that, we need to select a starting key or scale, and that depends on the color that you're going with, and that depends on the style of music. Generally speaking, when you hear a minor 7 chord, you want to go Dorian, or at least I like Dorian. I like that sound. So that's what we'll do, okay? We're going to pretend that we have an E Dorian over E minor 7. So if I fill in the missing notes, this is what we get for E minor 7, and you see that that works because within the chord told us that we had a root, so I'm respecting that root. It also told us that we had a minor 3rd. I'm respecting that minor 3rd right here. We didn't have a 4th, so I could pick. So I selected the perfect 4th. Same with the 2nd, a major 2nd. That works. And we had a minor 7th, which I'm respecting. So that would be the position for E Dorian that would work on that. We like that sound. And the second chord, we also like that sound, so we'll also use G Dorian. So I'm just going to write G Dorian here. The trick here is to find a common note between these 2 scales, and there are a lot. Let's pick, for example, this one. I'll use a square. These 2 notes are common, right? The minor 3rd of E minor 7 is the root of G minor 7. So these are common notes, and we're going to organize our phrasing from that G. So when we're playing over the second chord, we're going to use that position, which is right here, between frets 10 and 13. And when we're playing over the E minor 7, I'm actually going to move these notes so that they fill the same space. Something like this. Respecting the notes here, same exact notes. We can fill it here. Same exact notes that we had in E Dorian, but shifted to the same area of the fretboard. And now, this is what we have. On the E minor 7, instead of thinking in terms of building your position from the E, which was right here, we're going to build it from the G, which is that minor third. And if you look at that position, if you know your positions, we consider that this G is the root. It's not, but let's pretend that it is. We'll have this shape, a shape with a root, major second, major third, augmented fourth, fifth, major sixth, major seventh. That's Lydian. So on the first chord, think in terms of G Lydian. On the second chord, think in terms of G Dorian. Let me demonstrate. It's going to make much more sense now if I play it, and you can re-watch this. But basically, we're condensing it to the same area of the fretboard. I'm going to demonstrate that, and we'll talk about it after. So I'll start this in G, G Lydian. And then G Dorian. And back to G Lydian. G Dorian, and that allows me to smoothly transition from one to the other. I hope you loved today's session. It's such an interesting topic to me, and when I discovered some of these things, it really freed my playing to write music that was at the time out of reach, and it opened up a whole new world. So rewatch this video as many times as you want, pause it, apply everything. If you have any questions, if something doesn't make sense, leave your question in the comment below. Like this video, subscribe. I have a new masterclass session coming every week now. And also, if you want to go a little further, if intervals are not quite your thing yet, which we talked a lot during this session, you should definitely sign up to my free music theory DNA course. And there's going to be an annotation here on the video. Click on it, you'll download the free music sheet, and I will teach you how to use it starting every Monday. There's a new training session. You'll get that via email. So do it right now if you haven't already. At the end of this session, I will tell you about my paid course, but you're in no way obligated to buy it, and you can unsubscribe anytime. And I promise that that free training is going to open up some new ideas. I take that promise back. It might, because I don't want to be sued, and I know that I'm on the internet today. Thank you. I will see you next time. Until then, salut.